Hello everyone, welcome to Marketing 454 Advertising. This is chapter 4. In this chapter, let's talk about the perspectives on consumer behavior. From consumer behavior perspective on advertising and the promotion process. Okay, these are the learning objectives. Okay. Let's talk about the overview of a consumer behavior. Yeah, what is a consumer behavior? What's consumer behavior? Yeah, you probably will, many of you will take another class by Dr. Steen on consumer behavior. We just go through some of that pertaining to advertising. Okay, consumer behavior is a process and activities people engage in with relation to products and services to satisfy their needs and desires, including the process of searching for something, for the product, or selecting the product to buy, purchasing the product, the purchasing itself, using the product, evaluating the product, and finally dispose of the product. These are all part of the consumer behavior. Okay? There's some basic model for consumer decision making. We are all consumers. Everyone makes decisions about consumptions or purchases, right? What are the stages that we go through to make the final purchase? Okay? First stage is problem recognition. Problem recognition. You recognize there's a problem. You have a problem. You have a problem. You have need. You need something. Okay. Then what do you do next? Stage 6, for example, you're thirsty. You're thirsty. That's a problem. And then you search for information. In this case, you probably don't need to do too much search, and you don't need to do too much alternative evaluation. You just go get some water, right? But what if you need a computer, or you need to buy a car, right? You don't have transportation. You buy a car. You have a problem recognition. Then you don't just go out and buy one, right? You do an information search first, right? You search for information about the brands, the model and brands, and the year, the mileage, or the new used cars to choose from, right? And then you can get lots of information, and then you're gonna have several alternatives. You may have like 3 different cars to evaluate to choose from finally, okay? So you can evaluate the alternative solutions. Then finally you make a purchase decision. I'm gonna get this one. I'm gonna this one. And then even after you purchased it, you're still gonna do evaluation. That's a post-purchase evaluation. You want to see if you actually made the right decision. If the car actually meets your needs, meets your requirement. Right? There is a relevant internal psychological process that goes with the stages in consumer decision-making process. Okay? When you have a problem, problem recognition, you recognize the problem, you can have a motivation. There's a psychological process of motivating. You're motivated to look for something. Right? When you search for information, there is a perception issue. You perceive, the psychological process is perceiving something from outside. Okay. In alternative evaluation, when you evaluate different alternatives, you actually the corresponding psychological process is attitude formation. You form an attitude towards different alternatives. And then when you make a purchase decision, the corresponding psychological process is integration. You put all the factors together, you put everything together and make a final decision. Right? When you do the post-purchase evaluation, you actually achieve learning because you learn something. Next time somebody else needs to buy a car, you can actually give them some advice. So there's a learning process involved. Okay, This is a basic model for consumer decision making. Okay? Let's first look at the first one, problem recognition. Okay, every step in detail. What is problem recognition? Consumer perceives a need and gets motivated to solve a problem. If you need water, you go get the bottle. If you need a car transportation, you go buy a car, right? And then this problem recognition is caused by a difference between consumers' ideal state and actual state. Your ideal state and your actual state. Your ideal state is that you are hydrated, right? Fully hydrated. The actual state, you are not fully hydrated. You need water. You need to hydrate yourself, right? So the problem recognition could be for by different sources or by different reasons. For example, the sources for the problem recognition could be out of stock. You use it up. Something is used up. You need more. Okay? Or it could be dissatisfaction with the product you currently use. Right? Or it could be new needs or wants. You're graduating from theater. You got a new job. You probably want to get a new dress, or a new suit, or a new car. Okay, a new needs or wants emerged. Or it could be related product or purchases. You buy a laptop, and you probably also want to buy maybe a bag, just for a bag or a suitcase, briefcase for your laptop. Right? It could be marketer-induced problem recognition. That is, the marketer, advertiser, actually helped you to recognize how you got a problem. You need to buy something, okay? Or it could be just new products. The new products available in the market, you want to get one. Okay? The problem recognition. Okay? This one here is the splat. Okay, splat. Use this ad to encourage people to not be content with their current hair color and change it. Right? It says here you have winter green, right? What about whipped cherry? Right? Whipped cherry. So encourage you to not to be content with whatever you have, and when you try something different. Okay? That's a splat, the hair dye. Okay? And let's look at the consumer motivations, right? Consumer motivations. Consumer perception of a problem influences remainder of purchase decisions, right? Your perception problem, right? What are the motives? Motives are the factors that compel a consumer to take a particular action. That's motive. Right? You have motive to do something, right? When there's a murder, for example, the police will want to see the killer's motive. Why do you want to kill someone? Right? Why do you want to kill someone? What's your motive? Motive, factors that compel a consumer to take on a certain action. Okay. Then what motivates us, right? There's a theory on that, the hierarchy of needs theory on that, right? It's Maslow's theory of human motivation. Professor Maslow came up with the theory of human motivation. Basically, he's saying that the low-level psychological and safety needs must be satisfied before higher-order needs become meaningful. In other words, he's saying that we have to satisfy our needs for physiological or for safety. We have to have those needs met, satisfied. Then we can pursue, higher order needs and wants. Okay, that's his theory, Maslow's hierarchy of need. Right. So we all have physiological needs: hunger, thirst. We want to eat. We want to drink. Right. And then once those needs are met, we want safety need. We have safety needs: security, protection, security and protection. Right. Once physiological and safety needs are met, we also want the social need. We then want social needs, sense of belonging, love, right, compassion. Right? Once the social needs are met, We want esteem needs, self-esteem, recognition, status. That's what we need, right? Eventually, finally, we have self-actualization needs. That's self-development and realization, ultimate needs, right? This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But not going to be in the test, but just so you know, this applies, of course, in this country, in Western civilizations. But in some, I must point it out that in some civilizations, maybe in the Oriental societies, many people have actually the self-actualization needs before their lower level needs are met. So this may not apply in some other cultures or countries, just so you know for your knowledge, okay? But for your test, for your exam, let's go with this, okay? And this is another example here. Volvo. On the left, there's a Volvo ad for Volvo car. The Volvo ad appeals to security by promoting safety. He said, win big with safety, right? Build a Volvo, score with safety, win a car, enter for a chance to win, right? They emphasize safety needs, right? But the ad on the right-hand side, the Lexus ad, appeals to self-actualization by advertising its car as an ideal. It's not just for safety or basic transportation. It says this, designed to make you feel your best, reach your self-actualization. Mm-hmm. Also, let's look at more consumer motivations, right? There's a psychoanalytic theory and the motivation research about consumers' motivations. Right? There's a Freud's theory influenced modern psychology and explanations of motivation and personality. It's been applied to study of consumer behavior, and the deep motives can only be determined by probing the subconscious. That's from Freudian psychoanalytical theory. Also, there is motivation research that uses psychoanalytic techniques to determine consumers' purchase motivations. Okay. Here are some of the marketing research methods used to probe the mind of the consumer. Those are the tools, right? Research methods you can use to probe the mind, understand the mind of consumers. You can have in-depth interviews. That's a face-to-face situation in which an interviewer asks a consumer to talk freely in an unstructured interview using specific questions designed to obtain insights into his or her motive, ideas, or opinions, called in-depth interviews. Right? You can also use projective techniques. Efforts designed to gain insight into your consumers' values, motives, attitudes, or needs that are difficult to express or identify. But you can have them project these internal states upon some external object, right? Upon something else, something outside, external object. You can also do association tests. That's a technique where an individual is asked to respond with the first thing that comes to mind when they are presented with the stimulus. The stimulus may be a word, a picture, an ad, and so on. You give them a word, for example, compassion, and then you ask the person, what's the first thing that comes to mind when they hear the word compassion? Okay? That's the association test. Then there's also the focus group study. Focus groups. The small number of people with similar backgrounds and or interests are brought together to discuss a particular product, idea, or issues. Right? In an election year, for example, like this, we have people, focus groups to study their ideas, their wishes, their expectations of political candidates, for example. Okay, they use that. Okay. There are problems with psychoanalytical theory and motivation research, right? For the criticism of psychoanalytic theory is like they're saying that it's too vague, yeah, not clear enough, yeah. It's unresponsive to external environment, you know, or too reliant on early development of the individual, especially childhood, right? Uses small sample for drawing conclusions. Just criticism of psychoanalytical theory. For motivation research, they're criticized for results difficult to verify, okay? Lack of experimental validation, and findings not generalizable to the entire population. So you do know the limitations here, okay? And there are contributions of a psychoanalytic theory and motivation research though, right? So psychoanalytic theory, it provides a basis for advertising messages aimed at buyers' deeply rooted feelings, hopes, and aspirations and fears. Okay, we can use that, right? It's a basis of a message. Motivation research is a qualitative nature, helps assess how and why consumers buy. Help us to understand how consumers buy a product. Helps to get around stereotypical or socially desirable responses. Okay? It also helps as a forerunner of psychographics. Okay? Forerunner of psychographics. Next stage in consumer decision making is information search. You search for information about the product you want to buy or you need. Okay? First, you do an internal search, information retrieval that involves recalling past experience, what your experience you had in the past, information regarding various purchase alternatives, okay? Sufficient for routine, repetitive purchases. Yeah. For routine, repetitive purchases, internal search is enough. Okay. There's or on other items, some other things, other products, you may have to engage in external search, seeking information from external sources, right? Like internet, personal, friends, right? And public sources, okay? Publications. Okay? It could be marketer-controlled sources, the marketer provided to you. It could be personal experience of somebody else. Okay, those are external search. Okay? In this ad, Yelp, the internet source provided one option for an external search. This Yelp ad asks consumer if they need to chill. You need to chill, right? And helps them search for ways to accomplish this, right? Need to chill, can help you find a place to eat. Okay? Information search, the extent of your external sources to be used depends on several factors. One, the importance of purchase decision. Your purchase decision is very important. You can do a lot of external sources searches. Okay, the effort needed to acquire information. It takes a lot of effort to acquire information. You probably do a lot. Right? Amount of relevant past experience. Right? If you have a lot of past experience, you probably don't need much. If you don't, you probably need more external source. Right? Degree of perceived risk associated with the purchase. Right? If there's not much risk associated with the purchase, it's a cheap, small item. You can not do too much search. But if it costs you a lot of money, right? You could lose a lot of money if you made a bad decision. Then you can do a lot of external search. Right? Also, the time available for you to do the search or not. Right? You may not have the time, excuse me, to do that. Perception in the consumer decision making. Their perception. Right? Perception is, what is perception? Receiving, selecting, organizing, and interpreting information to create a meaningful picture of the world. That's what we perceive the world is like. Okay, your perception depends on internal factors such as beliefs or mood. You're good mood or bad mood, right? What do you believe, right? Also, is characteristics of a stimulus such as the size or color, your perception. Right? In this ad for Simply Orange, right? Simply Orange, the use of color and context influences the consumer's perception and helps promote the urge to purchase orange juice. Look at that. Honestly, simple. Okay, a lot of greens, a lot of oranges, abundant of vitamin C's for you. Okay. Also, perceptions as sensation, right? That's immediate response, direct response of the senses to stimulus. Okay, what we sense, this is what we just perceive or receive. Also, in selecting information, internal psychological factors determine what one focuses on or what one ignores. Right? Sometimes, we may focus on the things we're interested in and ignore the other things. Consumers' personality, needs, your motives, your expectations, your experiences explain why something receives attention or is ignored. Sometimes we pay attention, sometimes we don't pay attention. We just ignore it. Okay. So perception also, you need to, in perception, it depends how you perceive something depends on how the information is interpreted. Okay, interpreting information, organizing and categorizing information influenced by the internal psychological factors, also the nature of the stimulus. Okay. As human beings, we do have selective perception. Keep that in mind, right? We selectively perceive things, right? Selectivity occurs throughout various stages of a consumer's perceptual process. Okay? We may not perceive everything we are exposed to. Okay? We could be selectively perceive some things. Yeah? This happens all the time. Okay? So the selective perception process is like this, right? First, we have selective exposure. We may expose ourselves to certain things we choose. Okay, and there's also and then there is a selective attention that we may only pay attention to the things we are interested in, and not paying attention to others. Right, so there's a selective attention. Right? Even for things that we paid attention to, we could have selective comprehension. We choose to understand certain things, but not others. So selective comprehension. And then selective retention. That's what we keep, remember in our mind. We may choose to remember certain things, but not other things. So that's what we call selective perception process. Okay? Let's look at the selective perception, selective exposure, right? Consumers choose whether or not to make themselves available to that information. Now, we choose available to the information or not to the information, right? Selective attention is when consumer chooses to focus attention on certain stimuli and not others. We may look at it but not paying attention, and look at it and not seeing it, and not looking at it and not seeing it, basically. Okay? This one here is for Pepto-Bismol, right? The ad here. The distinct pink color in this Pepto-Bismol ad catches readers' attention and instantly leads to brand recognition. Right? It's pink colors. We always know it's pink colored, right? You eat pizza, it burns. You want to eat, drink, and be covered, so you use Pepto-Bismol. Okay? The pink color is so strongly associated with this pill. Okay? And then selective comprehension, as I said. Consumers interpret information on the basis of own attitudes, beliefs, motives, and experience. Based on our own attitude, what we believe, our motivations, and our experience, we can interpret certain information, understand them selectively. Then finally, selective retention. Because we do not remember all information we see, hear, or read, even after attending to and comprehending it. Right? Even after we attended to it and comprehended it, but still, it may not stick in your mind. You forget. Okay? There's a term called the mnemonics. Mnemonics, right? What are mnemonics? Symbols, rhymes, associations, and images that assist us in the learning and memory process are called mnemonics. Okay? That could be your test. Remember that, right? Subliminal perception. We talk about this perception, right? We talk about what about subliminal perception? What's a subliminal perception? That's our ability to perceive a stimulus that is below the level of conscious awareness, below the threshold, below the level of conscious awareness that we're not fully aware, but we still receive them, right? Perceive them. So this is actually a controversial tactic with strong ethical implications. Can advertisers use that? Should advertisers use that? Right? Because it's not about their clear conscious. Right? Alternative evaluation. Next stage in decision making, alternative evaluations. Right? What is alternative evaluations? We compare brands that have been identified as capable of solving our problem or satisfying our needs, or motives that initiate the decision process. Okay. We just want to compare different brands, right? There's a term called the evoked set. Evoked set, very important. Okay, make sure you understand it. Remember this, right? Evoked set. Evoked set is a subset of all brands which consumer is aware. For example, if I buy I've been buying a lot of Toyota cars, right? If I want to buy a next car, my evoked set is probably Toyotas and Lexus. That's my evoked set, because of my past experience. So evoked set is a subset of all brands. It's a subset, not all the brands, but some of them, right? A subset of that consumer is aware of. The size of the evoked set depends on the importance of purchase, all the time and energy spent comparing alternatives. It's very important. You may want to consider a lot more brands, right? The evoked set is bigger. If not that important, it's probably smaller, right? Top of mind awareness, right? Top of mind awareness. That's what comes to mind, the top of your mind, right? It's usually in the reminder advertising. The reminder advertising targets people's top of mind awareness. So if they want the 30, they see a lot of Coca-Cola ad, they want to grab a Coke. That's reminder advertising is about. This is an ad from Michigan, State of Michigan, Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I'm sorry, the company, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, right? That presents the many benefits of Michigan and encourages prospective businesses to consider it in their evoked set or places to locate or relocate. They want companies, businesses to come to, their state, the state of Michigan, right? They want Michigan to be one of the states or places they want to consider. Okay? That's what this ad is about. Yeah. Alternative evaluation. Let's just continue to talk about alternative evaluation, right? You need to evaluate, you have to have evaluation criteria, right? Your evaluative criteria, that's the dimensions or attributes of a product that are used to compare different alternatives. You have different alternatives, right? You want to use those criteria to make a decision, right? The evaluation could be objective or subjective, right? It could be viewed as a product or service attributes. Consumers think in terms of consequences and outcomes. When we evaluate it, we think about what will be the consequences of that. What comes out of that, right? There could be functional consequences. That's concrete outcomes of product service use, like a tangible and this can be directly experienced by the consumers. For example, the taste of potato chip. You evaluate that based on the taste. You taste it. It's tangible. You experience. You like it or not. Okay? That's evaluate functional consequences. And there are also the psychosocial consequences. There's abstract outcomes that are more intangible, subjective, and personal. You have something, you buy something, you buy a watch, you buy a car, you buy something, and what's on your mind is, what will my friends or family look at me, think of me, if I use this car or this phone or these things, these certain things, right? There's a psychosocial consequence. Okay? There's also the sub-process, the process by which consumer attitudes are created, reinforced, and changed. Right? The decision rules or the integration strategies are used to compare brands and make purchase decisions at the sub-processes. Okay? Attitudes. Okay? In the consumer decision-making process, we form attitudes, or attitudes toward the brand or toward the product. So what is attitude? An attitude. And attitudes are learned predispositions to respond to an object. That's our attitude. Our attitude toward the product, brand, a company, or whatever, an object. It's a learned predisposition. You are not born with an attitude. Okay? You did not have attitude in the beginning. You learned. You form an attitude through learned predispositions. Okay? It theoretically summarizes consumers' evaluation of an object. Right? It represents positive or negative feelings and or behavior tendencies. With attitude, there is the behavior tendencies. Because you like it or dislike it, you're going to buy it or not buying it. Okay? You may have positive feelings about it. You may have negative feelings. You have good positive attitude or negative attitude. Okay? So that attitude. This can be your test. Attitude. Learned predispositions to respond. Okay? Now, how do you measure attitude? Right? There's a multi-attribute attitude model. Right? Multi-attribute attitude model. Attributes of a product and brand provide the basis on which consumers form attitudes. Okay? Like say, I like a quality car, Toyota cars. Right? I like it because of the fuel economy, the dependability, and the style, etc. Okay? These are all attributes of product. Okay? Consumers will attach different level of importance to different attributes. For me, for example, the color of a car doesn't matter. I don't care. The dependability, very important. Very important. Fuel efficiency, somewhat important. See, I attach different level of importance to different attributes of the product. Right? You can use that to predict attributes. Need to know how much importance consumer attach to them. Okay. There's a term called the salient beliefs. Salient beliefs. That's beliefs concerning specific attributes, consequences that are activated and form basis of attitude. Salient beliefs. Okay. And this is the multi-attribute attitude model. Basically, AB, capital AB here is attitude toward a brand, right? And BI is a belief about the brand's performance on attribute I. And the EI is importance attached to the attribute, right? And then you multiply B and E for each attribute, and then add them up. Add them for the first attribute, second attribute, 3, 4, 5, 6, until the nth attribute. You add them all together, then you form your overall attitude toward the brand. This is the multi-attribute attitude model. Okay. Attitude can be changed. advertisers, marketers try to change people's attitude. We want to change their attitude, make their attitude toward us better. We want people to like us, right? We all want people to like us, right? We want to change people's attitude. How do you change the attitude? Attitude change strategies. Okay? One, you can change the strength or belief rating of a brand on an important attribute. On the important attribute to the consumer, you want to change the strength or belief rating when it make them feel that this attribute is important. Right? You can change consumers' perceptions of the importance or value of attribute. What's their perception of the importance? You can change that, make it more important. Right? You can add new attributes to the attitude formation process. Add a new attribute. Some new features, functions. Right? Or you can change the perceptions of belief ratings of a competing brand. You make them believe that the competing brand, the other guy, is worse, is lower, is inferior than yours. You can change that. You can also change their attitude. Okay, so these are the attitude changing strategies. 4 strategies. Okay? This one here, right? Michelin tire, right? The Michelin ad stretches advantages over the competition. It says that Michelin tires provide higher gas mileage and safety. Higher gas mileage and safety. So they're gonna smash this gasoline pump, right? So they're saying, we are better in gas mileage and safety. So, hey, the other guys not that high on gas mileage and not that safe. So, buy Michelin tires. Integration process and decision rules, right? What's the integration process? We have all the knowledge, meanings, attitudes, beliefs, right? We combine the product knowledge, meanings, and beliefs to evaluate different alternatives, right? You integrate that, right? When the decision rules what's the decision rule? The strategies used to decide among alternatives, right? We go with the heuristics rule that simplify the decision rules customers use for purchase decisions, right? There's also an after referral decision rule. The selection is made on the basis of overall impression or summary evaluation of various alternatives under consideration. Okay? That's the decision rules. And heuristic and after referral decision. Right? And then next stage, purchase decision. Make a decision to purchase. Right? Purchase intention. You have to have the intention to purchase. What's purchase intention? Purchase intention, predisposition to buy a certain brand by matching purchase motives with the attributes of brands considered. It's based on motivation, perception, attitude formation, and integration. You have the motivation, you have the perception, good perception, you have attitude, good attitude towards it, to integrate all the things considered, then you form this purchase intention, okay? Purchase intention, the decision to buy. And there's a term called brand loyalty. Keep that in mind, right? It's going to be in your test. What is brand loyalty? It's a preference for a particular brand that results in repeated purchases. Customers become brand loyal, okay? Repeated purchases. Here is a list of the brands that have the most brand loyalty. Amazon, you consider online retailing, that's number one, brand loyalty, leaders in that. I'm sure you want to buy something online, you probably think of Amazon. So do I, right? Smartphones, Apple has that. Yeah, rank number 4. Video streaming, consider video streaming, you go to Netflix, number 2. You want to eat pizza, go to Domino's, number 5. Video streaming, another one is Amazon, number 3. Right? Video streaming, Disney Plus is another one. Right? Search engine, you go to Google, pretty high. Instant messaging, WhatsApp, Okay? These are the top brands that have the most brand loyalty. Okay? Post-purchase evaluations. After purchase, you evaluate, right? Satisfaction occurs when consumers' expectations are met or exceeded. So we're happy. Right? That's one evaluation after purchase. Dissatisfaction occurs when product performance is below expectations. Okay? Then there could be an issue of cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. Remember the term, cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? The psychological tension experienced after a difficult purchase choice. You are happy, become unhappy, right? You can reduce by seeking reassurance and opinions from others. Ask your friend to say, hey, what do you think? My purchase decision is a good buy or not so good buy? They say, oh, it's a great buy. Then you make yourself happier. Right? You can reduce your cognitive dissonance. Right? Post-purchase communication for marketers is important to reinforce wisdom decision. Sometimes the marketer will call you, say, after you make the purchase, you say, hey, how do you like the product? Right? What's your friend's view, friend and family think about the product purchase? They say, oh, yeah, they love it. They say, okay, great. Yeah, you made this a good decision. Yeah, thank you for your purchase. Come back again. Okay, that's purchase, right? There are various variations in consumer decision making. Many purchase decisions are based on habitual or routine choice process. Right? So in that case, marketers need to keep brands in the consumer's evoked set. Remember the evoked set? Okay. Marketers of new brands or those with low market share must find ways to disrupt the routine choice process. So they will consider your brand. Right? They put your brand in their evoked set. Right? A more complicated decision-making process occurs when consumers have limited experience in purchasing a particular product or service. Okay? Let's talk about the consumer's learning process. Consumer learning process. There is a behavior approach. It's based on the stimulus response orientation called SR. Right? How do we learn? Learning occurs as a result of a response to external stimuli in the environment. Okay? The result of the responses to external stimuli in the environment, we learn something. Learning takes place. Okay? In psychology studies, there's Pavlov. You probably heard about the Russian psychologist Pavlov's classical conditioning. Okay? What's a classical conditioning? It says learning is an associative process with an existing relationship between a stimulus and the response. You stimulate and you respond, re-stimulated, you respond, and then it's called classical conditioning, and you learn something. Okay? You heard about the Pavlov's dog? Every time they ring a bell, they give the dog some treat. Every time they ring the bell, give the dog some treat. Next time, they just ring the bell, the dog will know a treat is coming. So a conditioned stimulus elicits a conditioned response. Right? Conditioned stimulus elicits a conditioned response. Contiguity and repetition are necessary. You have to do that repeatedly to enforce that, and for that conditioning. Marketers strive to associate their product and services with positive perceptions, image, and emotions. They want to do that using classical conditioning. Right? Example of that is in the book, is in figure 4.7, is that you have a lollipop, right? That's a stimulus. What is response? Sweetness. We see a lollipop, we see sweetness. We can see respond with sweetness, right? There's unconditional stimulus is the lollipop. We have unconditional response to sweetness, right? And then in the ad, the Maria's lollipop bling, in the ad, there's a conditional stimulus, right? And then it results in a response of conditional response with sweetness. So there is association develops through contiguity and repetition. And contiguity and repetition. This ad here, this example, Davidoff Reborn. Yeah, this ad of Davidoff Reborn applies the classical conditioning process. It associates this product with the look and freshness of water. They're seeing this fragrance, right? Fragrance, right? Is cool water reborn. It's a cool water reborn, right? So it is a freshness of water. That's what this fragrance, fragrance, male fragrance, is trying to bring to you, right? There's also the behavior learning theory about the operant conditioning. We talk about classical conditioning. There's also the instrumental conditioning or operant conditioning. What is operant conditioning? Is learning can occur when an individual actively operates or acts on some aspect of the environment. That's what we call the operant conditioning. Right? We learn something. Yeah? The learning can take place when an individual actively acts on something, right? Operates or acts on some aspect of the environment, then we can achieve learning. That's what is called instrumental conditioning, right? They use a process called reinforcement. That's rewards or favorable consequences associated with their particular response. Reinforced behavior strengthens the bond between stimulus and response. So reinforcement, do it over again, and then the bond between stimulus and response becomes strengthened. Okay. So in this instrumental conditioning in marketing, we can have, say, for example, a behavior that's consumer use product or services, right? And then there could be a positive or negative consequence occur from the used product, leading to either with a positive consequence leading to reward, with negative consequences leading to punishment. Right? Then you increase or decrease in the probability of repeat behavior, right? Purchase. If it's a positive leading to reward, then you can purchase product more. If it's negative response, then you can purchase product less. Okay, so there's a change in that. That's instrumental conditioning in marketing. Okay. In operant or conditioning, schedule of the reinforcement is important. You want to make it continuous, right? If you make it continuous in reinforcement, learning occurs rapidly and every response is rewarded. Behavior is likely to cease when reinforcement stops. If you don't no reinforcement, the behavior is going to stop. Okay, or you can use a partial or intermittent one. Partial and intermittent reinforcement. Learning occurs more slowly, but could last longer. So only some responses are rewarded. Okay? There's a term called the shaping. Okay? Shaping means the reinforcement of a successive acts that lead to desired behavior pattern or response. Okay? This is also in the operant conditioning. Let me give you an example here. Application of shaping procedures in marketing. Okay, the terminal goal here is to repeat purchase behavior. We want consumers to buy our product repeatedly. How do we shape that? How do we shape that behavior, right? And this is the sequence here. Approximate sequence is you induce the product trial. Ask them to try a new product and try the product. And then induce purchase with a little financial obligation, give them a freebie discount. And then induce purchase with the moderate financial obligation. And finally, you induce purchase with the full financial obligation that they pay the full price. Yeah. So what is the shaping procedure here? When you try to induce product trial, you give them a free sample and distribute free sample, get large discount coupon, 50% off, right? Then you try to induce purchase with a little financial obligation. You give a discount coupon to promote purchase with a little cost, or coupon good for a small discount when next purchase enclosed. Okay? When you try to induce purchase with a moderate financial obligation, you want some more, you give them a smaller discount coupon. Prompts purchase with a moderate cost. They can spend more. Finally, you want to try to induce the purchase with full financial obligation. You want to give them no coupon. Purchase occurs without coupon assistance. That's your goal. Okay, so the reinforcement applied, product performance coupon. Right, whatever you give them per coupon and also reinforce them with that with the product performance. Your product is truly good, right? And then again with a smaller discount, you use product performance and coupon. Okay, and finally you get rid of coupon. It's just that your product performance itself becomes reinforcement applied, and then finally just product performance. Your product itself is good, and then reinforcement is applied like that with that, and then people will buy your product now without a coupon. That's your goal. Okay, that's your goal. That's the shaping procedure in marketing. Okay. Cognitive learning theory, right? Cognitive learning theory, there studies the complex mental processes that underlie consumer decision making, from perception, formation of beliefs, attitude development change, and the integration. That's behavior learning theory, cognitive learning theory. Okay, basically this is a cognitive learning process. You set your goal, you have your turn to your purchase behavior, you learn the insight, you achieve the goal achievement. Okay, I'd like to read that. There are also environmental influences on consumer behavior. Our behavior as consumer are influenced by environmental factors. Right? Culture. Okay, the culture. What is culture? Right? The complexity of learned meaning, value, norms, and customs shared by members of society. That's culture. We have American culture, Western culture. That's a culture. Right? There are also subcultures. With subculture, smaller segments within the culture whose beliefs, values, norms, and pattern of behavior set them apart from the larger cultural mainstream. Southern culture. We have the Southern culture, right? It's somewhat different from American culture, for example. Or you're a college student. You have a college student. You have your subculture, right? There are even subculture, corporate culture. A company has its own culture. Right? Also, social class, right? Social class affects our consumer behavior. What is social class? Homogeneous divisions in a society into which people sharing similar lifestyles, values, norms, interests, and behaviors can be grouped. College student is a social class. Your school class, right? Maybe college professors, another social class, right? The three broad levels in the United States, right, in the society. We have upper class, middle class, and lower class. Right? Upper class, middle class, and lower class. And college student, your teachers, professors, we are probably most likely in the middle class. Okay, or the middle class. Okay, middle class. Okay. This ad is for Giorgio Armani. Giorgio Armani, right? There is ad for that. It's a fragrance called the Sai Passion. I don't know. It's meant to appeal to the growing Hispanic subculture in the U.S. You can see the spokesperson they is selected to sell this fragrance. Okay. Reference groups. Our reference groups affect our environmental factors that affect our consumer behavior. What are reference groups? Group whose presumed perspective or values are being used by an individual as basis for judgments, opinions, and actions. Okay? Okay? Reference groups. We all have reference groups. The group whose presumed perspective or values are being used by individual as basis for judgment, opinions, and actions. Okay? The three different types of reference groups: associative group, aspirational group, and dissociative group. Okay? Associative groups are the one group is the one that you belong to now. Okay? Aspirational is the one that you long for, you aspire to become, to join. Okay? Dissociative is a group that you want to stay away, you want to get out of it. You leave, you want to leave. Okay? Family members may serve as reference to each other too. Okay? There's also the situational determinants, the specific situation in which consumers plan to use the product or brand directly affects their perceptions, preferences, and purchase behaviors. For example, different type of usage, situation, purchase situation, and communication situation will affect our behavior. That's the situational determinants. Okay? Reference groups, situational determinants, all affect our own environmental influences on our behavior. Okay? This ad here is for U.S. Air for Air Force. Uses an aspirational reference group to influence consumer behavior. They say, hey, if you want to join the Air Force, okay, vigilance above all. That's a reference group. That's a higher reference group, right? It's your aspirational. If that's your aspirational group, a reference group you want to join, hey, join the Air Force. Okay? These are the rules in the family decision-making process. In the family decision-making, family make decision together to purchase something, a car or a house, right? There's an initiator, person initiating the purchase decision. There's information provider, the person who search for the informations. There's an influencer who exerts influence as to what criteria to use, etc. The decision maker, the person or persons who actually make the final decision. Yeah, it could be the mother alone or a combination of another family matter, for example, mother and father or husband and wife. Right? The purchasing agent, the individual who performs the physical act of making the purchase, and the consumers, the actual user product. In case of family car, all family members are consumers, right? If a private car, only the person, is the consumer. So these are different roles in family decision making. Okay, make sure you understand that. Initiator, information provider, influencer, decision maker, purchasing agent, and consumer. Okay? There are also new methodologies emerging, qualitative methods, linguistic or historical perspective of communications, examining symbolic meaning of advertising and facets of consumption. There's been new insights emerging, leading to better understanding of cultural significance of advertising messages and the influence on advertising images in society. So these are the things that you should pay attention to. Okay? I think that's all I have for this chapter. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.